can I help you? What happened, Dean?
Well, I was a passenger in an Aston Martin, DB5, wearing these virtual reality glasses. And this guy pressed this ejector button.
And then
Next thing I know, I was all over the place and, hit the ground, and that was it. So.
But I love the special shoes.
Yeah, like it's just I got it to match. Coordinated, yeah.
You look lovely.
Thank you.
You are in the shoe town of Germany. You know the Königsallee? You have to go there if you want to buy new shoes. They got everything for you too.
Lovely, thank you.
Dean Donaldson, ladies and gentlemen,
thank you.
Please.
Please, hold on. Yeah, can I give you those? Swap. Thank you. Hello, hi, guten Tag. Teenagers. Trying to keep these guys entertained is difficult, right? Watching television, they're flicking the channels, they've got very short attention spans, and trying to get them interested in anything linear is pretty difficult, let alone when we start giving them multiple choices, interactivity, second screen, phones, and everything else. And really the challenge we have as marketers of looking at the future of television is how do we embrace this next generation with ways of trying to connect with them? Now, I see a lot of technology around the world, and I always find it interesting when people talk to me about smart TV. And they talk to me about, we've got these great ideas for dynamic adverts and video adverts on smart TV. And really, it's a banner ad in an electronic program guide. And that is not television, not by a long shot. And so I think really if we have to try and understand what technology can do with television, I need to get out of my idea of what online is and really get back into what television is. And television is not about this old crazy over-the-top stuff. It's very simple. It's actually about this whole idea of branding. And this idea of the relationships of brands that we build up over a period of time on the main screen. And really that is the beauty of television. It's this quality relationship that we've sort of generated and surrounded the content with these great advertising brands. That's why we spend all the money there. But the idea of how do we find this connection point, I don't really think is going to be about the smart television, not in the short term, because most of it, if anyone's got a smart TV, it's pretty difficult to navigate. It's pretty hard to get anything working, whether I'm talking to it or winking or wiggling or waving or whatever. It just doesn't work yet. And that's why we're relying on these second screen connections to try and make something happen. Now, I think what we need to do really is we have to sort of fuse our thinking, and I think that really is what we're talking about here at ScreenForce. It's this whole idea of television and online colliding together and giving us massive data points to understand the consumer journey. It's about the brand exposure over here to the sale over there. And that's the important part of it. What I really want to understand is this user journey. Where did they see? Where did they talk? Where did they visit and try on an experience? And ultimately, where did they buy? And that really is the promise to me, of television and online combining. Isn't just about banner ads in an electronic program guide. It's really about this whole idea of connecting things together. Now, second screen, there's been a lot of talk in the last few years. Well, apparently over 25% of Europeans right now have downloaded and have a second screen television app. Whether it's controlling your Samsung TV or some kind of interaction, or whether it's Z-Box or any of these other devices, that's quite a lot of people who've actually now downloaded. Now, when we sort of look at what true second screening is, i.e., I'm sitting there playing with Facebook when watching TV, well, that's pretty much 100% of all households now. People are either on YouTube, connecting to Facebook, and looking at those sort of things whilst watching television. So the connection points are already there, but the technology to link the two together isn't quite yet. And that's really what I want to sort of look at today, this whole idea of screen stacking, as it's now become known in the industry. This whole idea of this two-way communication that's happening. Now, it could be audio, but it could be any number of technologies, from Bluetooth to near-field communication. We're not reliant on any one technology to make these connections happen, Maybe it's a combination of all of these things together. And really what's happening right now is what's happened with print, what's happened with music, is we've started to tag everything. So just like I can catalog my music or catalog my photographs with keywords or whatever else, that's what the TV industry is really about right now, is cataloging these videos. Now it goes a stage further, because it's not just cataloging a video, it's the actual content within the video, as we saw earlier on with the Nike shoes, with Adidas shoes. You sit there and you fingerprint something, you put a digital watermark in it. Now next time I watch a piece of content, I can get the second screen up over here to talk to the main screen over here. It was a technology developed for the cinema industry to protect copyright issues, and that's really where it all sort of started from. And now we've got this whole idea of it's happening in television, so we can start to track everything. Excuse me while I just drop this around. So really, if I'm sort of looking at this whole idea of television as a placement device, fine, I want the connection to the second screen, but it's not enough to do that. What about the interaction if I'm now working across multiple devices? What if I then go back to watch the TV after I've played with something, and now what happens if I'm looking at a conversion? So in the true multi-screen world of a consumer's journey, I'm jumping through multiple devices over a period of my day as I consume the brand engagement life cycle. So that's really what we sort of look at. Let's sort of look at a bunch of technology. The first one is about placement. So here I am, I'm watching a soap opera, television show, and as you look around, it's pretty much unbranded. Well, the beauty of television right now is we have the ability to take video and superimpose it into television at the point of delivery. So what does I mean by that is I can take a piece of technology and drop in any brand after. Now this was something that if you were going to try and brand television before, you would have to get in touch with the producers 6 months in advance, go through a whole range of stuff. Well now with dynamic content, with digital content, we can drop that video in afterwards. Great, fantastic. TV, the power of subliminal television advertising. Now, what if I fingerprint that? And so suddenly now, when I see that, I'm able to get the content, the advert, working on my second screen. Because for all those teenagers that are skipping content, or sorry, skipping ads, you're not going to skip content. So by actually having the product placement linked to the advert, it means I can hold the advertising experience. Now, what if I want to take that a stage further? See, traditional TV is this whole idea of you have an ad break, it's ad 1, ad 2, ad 3, ad 4, then the content. But what if I can take this whole idea of second screen? So we're downloading apps, we're putting in these mobile apps for content. We've also now got second screen ideas for advertising, so I can sit there and hold my phone and link it to the ads. But what I want to be able to do is control the consumer experience for that whole duration of the advertising. Why? Because if I buy the 30-second ad up front and buy the 3-second bumper at the end, and I can get the user to sit there and play for the entire 2.5 minutes, I've got them for 3 minutes of time for the price of 33 seconds, with a much deeper engagement. So rethinking television just means I can sit there and watch
got the opportunity
like
pre-season
and play
to
around
have a
with
go
it.
in a Ferrari. What an experience, even for a former driver.
is the fact that by buying a TV in a completely different way and using the second screen experience, it's not just a click to find out more information. I'm truly talking about brand experiences. I think that's something that hasn't really caught on yet with the whole second screen revolution. The idea of gameplay and playing around and interacting with content on a different screen. So you can completely redefine television advertising without actually doing anything dynamic, just the way that you do a media buy. Connection. Well, okay, audio is one way of doing it, but here's a problem. So you're in a public place, you're watching the football, maybe you're in a bar, and you're not going to sit there and say, oh, excuse me, can you please keep the noise down because I'm trying to Shazam the ad or the content. It's just not going to work, right? You know, everyone's sitting there and talking and screaming, and it's just, you're not going to do it. Even if kids are shouting in your living room, it ain't going to happen. And then some great idea has come about. I don't know if you've seen it. You've got QR codes on the back of ads now. Have you seen them? Who puts a QR code on the back of an ad? I mean, seriously, by the time it's there, you're going to be clicking and you're moved off as well, so it's not going to happen. But the idea of visual communication is a powerful one. You see, if I could actually take the entire screen, the entire video content, and simply wave my phone in front and grab the information down, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Using visual connection, it means I can get that second screen interaction happening. And it actually works in an amazingly fast and quick way, better than audio. It means I can take the very oldest advert that's out there, a black and white ad with no sound, and still get the connection to deliver an experience today. And the beauty of it, it works in an environment like a public environment as well. So by looking at the same concept, but looking at new technology, we can actually get around a lot of these hurdles of the consumer experience. Another one, this idea of interaction, downloading these apps to play along with television. Well, okay, let's look at something. We talked earlier about the voice. You know, you're sitting there watching it, you're downloading an app, you're playing along with it, you're finding out more information whilst you're watching the content. You know, it doesn't matter what device you're on, you know, what's that song she's singing, who is it, you know, what's happening. We're finding out more information around the content. Great. So what about if I talk to you about this guy, Andre? See, Andre is quite an interesting character because he's in a situation right now where he's really sort of thinking about what new car to buy. You know, he just is at that point. And, you know, he's a great car aficionado. He sort of loves watching programs like Top Gear. Now, Top Gear in the UK, they're controversial as it is right now. There is no advertising. It's the most watched television program in the world, and yet there is no advertising related to it at all. So how can I make advertising related to this content if it's got such a huge user base, especially when people are very passionate about the TV program? So you could be sitting there watching the TV show, and you know, we're talking here about, you know, he's talking about the BMW.
Now we begin with the BMW M5. For the last 25 years, it has been the best fast saloon.
And so, you know, the controversy around it, you're sitting there, you're in an application, you're looking around with this idea, and obviously the app is continually reading information, continually updating itself. It knows it's about BMW. Now let's press it, let's find out more information. So while you're watching the show over there, I could be spinning the car around, virtual reality, finding out who my nearest dealer is. All wonderful, all brilliant stuff. Fantastic, right. The reality of life is you're thinking, wow, that was really interesting. You've got my interest. And then you kind of go about your daily life and totally forget about everything. And so the period of time goes by and something happens. Your car breaks down. And it could be days later, it could be weeks later. And at that point, what I want to be able to do is then when I happen to turn on another TV show or another piece of content, and I happen to be looking at it at that stage, this time when the advert is appearing actually in the phone, it doesn't just come back with the fact that, hey, remember that BMW, but I've retargeted the person. This time I'm able to offer them a special offer. This time I'm able to encourage them to go to the showroom where they might get something or reward them. So what I'm able to do is to use the online technology for the retargeting information whilst working with TV content. And so this is where I can actually take TV content, which is purely linear, and again, try and get the consumer to move through this life cycle, this consumer journey, using the technology that's available today. That is how we're going to start to drive sales, I believe, if that's what really we're trying to look at. Another situation, let's take a female program, Desperate Housewives. Well, you might be watching it with your partner. So let's look at Julie and John. And this time, they're watching a piece of content.
Mommy,
now, this is
can I have
interesting
money for
because
ice
this is
You
pure
just
and
had
utter
lunch.
They have chocolate
indulgent
chip.
product
Reese.
placement.
Oh, let her have some. It's hot. Come on, it'll be my treat.
Your purse is beautiful.
I know. Would you like to hold it?
Uh-huh. It's so soft. I bet it cost a lot, right?
Grace, you don't ask about money.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay, sweetie. Just so you know, it's Chanel. You can have one of these by working
they pay
very
a lot of money
hard.
to get their stuff looking very natural in a
by
TV
marrying
show,
a man
but you
who works very
know
hard.
that's all been pre-planned and
Thank you.
pre-designed. But what we're able to do here is to take two completely different users and actually still show them a Chanel ad, but obviously to the lady we're going to target her with a Chanel handbag, and the gentleman we're going to target him with Chanel perfume. And so what we're able to do is to take two experiences, because you know the male, the female, you know who's logged in on the phone, we're able to deliver them different experiences from one single television brand. So what we're able to do is to build upon the actual awareness, the stuff that we built on TV, and then start taking people down an individual user journey. And that works across all sorts of different situations. Once you've logged in and I know you,
Make Valentine's
you change
the
the
perfect
TV,
time
you
to
change
stay.
the ads, and then suddenly the
Coffee
adverts are all
subject
going to
starter.
appear. And again, you're going to have
Steak and
different
chips for two.
experiences for different
Patisserie
brands
dessert.
that are going to happen across
Plus
different
a bottle of
devices.
rosé cava and
So the creative
a book
is
of chocolates,
device
all
dependent,
for a
but it's also
seductive
person
party.
dependent as
Valentine's
well.
gourmet dining
So
kitchen.
you're able to show different experiences for different things. Communication. Well, this is the big thing. You see, let's go back to this football. Sky Sports.
All right, Ray. Not too bad, Raymondo. If I was you, Ray, I'd go for cards and corners. What's the latest live odds? There you go. Bet365 has over 60 in-play markets. Remember, Ray, it's all about the in-play. Sweet. Cheers, bruv. You're the daddy. No, you're the daddy. Bet365.com. Bet in play. Now.
Now what we've just seen here is what's called live-to-location advertising. This is dynamic television advertising. So what you're doing is you're using the TV system with a text over it. The video is pre-recorded, but within 30 seconds they're able to drop in the text and serve it out on television. So for all intents and purposes, it's like an online dynamic ad. It's changing in real time. And really the only people who've taken advantage of this is the betting companies right now. So they're doing it in a way. So we know the technology exists to be able to change TV dynamically pretty quickly. 30 seconds is pretty good in TV world. But that's okay. What it opens up this situation is social media. You see, what I want to be able to do in this particular case is not just have this idea of this app that's talking to it, but I want to have the brand not only working across my mobile device, but I want to push that content back up to the TV. This is the holy grail of TV advertising. If I can dynamically personalize TV advertising. And there are companies that do that. So there's a technology here where I can take a very small little advert in the corner. I can have that there linked to something. It's going to link in. It's going to draw me into that app. If I'm there in that app, I can sit there and play along with it. I could be tweeting or social media and typing things in and playing along and interacting with other people who are passionate about the game and talking about the game. But at the right time here, it's being able to go into the situation, have my social media feeds up on TV. So suddenly I'm a hero because I'm on television as well. So if I can get involved with a TV show, it's interesting. Now it's getting to the crunch point. Guys, did you agree with that goal? What do you think? What do you think the ref's decision was? Encouraging interactivity in a live TV show. And again, by me playing with this second screen app, I'm able to then pull it back. Now, what if I can then take that information and put it back into that advert? Because if I know that actual advert has a live feed, I could take social media feeds, I could take gambling feeds, and actually strip it in real time in graphs. So suddenly we were able to take a very simple TV advertising system and completely make dynamic TV advertising today by using the technology that's available. And so that's what it looks like. You're watching the TV here, and this is kind of it. You're seeing the social media happening. You're seeing the odds changing in real time. All of this is happening in the graphics engine at the TV studio. But now we're able to sit there and overlay it with advertising. We're not just text. We're talking video, picture-in-picture here. We've got second screen happening at the same time, live social media feeds, and now we can work with the advertising.
All right, boys. Oi. All right, Ray. Looking for a bit of in-play action, are we? Next goal scorer, full-time result.
Actually, could you give us the latest live odds rate?
There you go. Straight from bet365.com. Don't forget, Bet365 has over 60 in-play markets. Lovely.
Cheers, Ray.
Anytime, lads.
So it's all a way of encouraging the
Bet365.com.
consumer
Bet
to
and
sort of
play.
get involved
Now.
and play around with the brand, experience the brand, and get around with it. Conversion. This is the bit that we all want to know. The money talks. The TV, why we spend the money. Well, if I sort of look at this second screen, most tablets are used more in the home these days than they are outdoors. And most of us are using it to watch video in and around the home. It's a portable TV. Now, I've been watching TV content, but I'm not necessarily in the same app that the TV show's in. I could be in any app. I could be in Facebook or another department store or whatever else. Change the TV channel or change the adverts, and suddenly the app in the website that I'm looking at is changing at the same time. You see, this whole idea of you watching X Factor, download the X Factor app, then we can get the advert over there connected to over there, is okay if you're Shazamming. The reality is most people are going to sit in Facebook, they're going to be sitting there on eBay, they're going to be sitting on anything else. And what I want to be able to do is to take the advertising that's related to TV and stick it in a connection point on whatever advert or any online advert that's working. And by getting the TV ad watermarked and connecting it to the online ad, we're able to do that. And it can happen back end, so no matter what website you're on, if you're in Facebook, you're watching a TV, and every time the ads are changing on TV, the ads are changing in Facebook in perfect real time. That's going to be more realistic, I think, for how we're going to start driving the conversions, how you're going to start driving the sales. I don't have to download any app. It works in every app and any device. Because really what we're trying to get down to, this whole idea of adding stuff to cart, buying stuff. Now, the interesting thing, this is one of the most important data points I've seen over the last couple of years, is when, Rekit Benkaiser's general manager for marketing, she said, do you know what? TV's wonderful, but if I put out second screen or second video streams as well as TV, it doubles my sales in store. Now, she's not talking about how many people clicked or how much time. She's saying, bottom line, I'm seeing more people buying stuff in store when I combine television with something. And I think for a brand advertiser to say that, it's hugely powerful. We've had 15 years of, did they click on an ad? Did they spend time? Did they play? Who cares? Did they buy? And I think this is where it gets fully exciting for me. Not only do I want to interact with a second device, not only want to retarget them across devices, I want to retarget them on TV and drive a sale. And this is the whole picture. And so for this own point, this is the reality of life today. About 80% of people are now searching for stuff when they're out in the high street. You're seeing something, can I get it cheaper online? Can I get it today? Can I buy it here? But I think the future is all about loyalty. It's about, I want one. Not now, but I want one. Add it to my wish list. I like it. I really love this brand. I'm interested in finding out more. I want special offers. You may be walking around the street and the new beacons that are coming in. And you simply walk into a store and you're going to get rewarded for walking into a shop or walking past a billboard, and it's going to add it in. Are you interested? Absolutely. Special offer. And all this information is going to collect as you're walking around. Maybe you see that little handbag and you're like, yes, I want one of them. Or maybe you're just walking into something really practical and someone in Tesco's offers you a 2-for-1 on Head & Shoulders and you're like, yes. And we're building up a picture. Now you're able to sit there and sync that to all the devices because the consumer is in control. And they're saying, yes, I want to receive relevant advertising. I don't want to see personal hygiene adverts on my TV anymore. I'd much rather see car ads as a man. And so if I can filter those things out, or if I can turn around and say, I don't want my kids to see McDonald's ads, filter them out. By giving the consumer choice, by understanding what they are interested in, when they're interested in, this is going to change. And I think that's the beauty of this whole idea, this future of stuff. We're going to start pushing things out, pushing the content out. So it means then when I am watching TV, TV is going to become dynamic. So in this situation, let's watch TV.
Look out! You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
Oh man, don't the ads always come on at the wrong time? They always get you at that moment. Well, here I'm in a situation where I pulled out the watch. And this time it's listening in. It knows what I'm interested in. It recognizes the ad and it's bringing back that special offer. It's reminding me of that special offer. And very simply, it says, guys, you've got it on your list. Do you want to buy? And you're able to sit there and you're going to go, yeah.
A puppy.
So the TV ads we're going to be able to make dynamic. It's happening. Programmatic television is happening. We're now moving into a situation where we're going to start driving the connection point. I don't need a smart TV. I need to make the consumer smart and easier for them to sit there and relate to the brands they love and buy the stuff they want when they want to do it and how they want to do that. Brand advertisers are thinking of television. But really, I think Yoda's got it quite right when he's turning around and saying, use a ScreenForce TV, you will. It's this whole idea of connecting. It's the very best of television quality, but the very power of the dynamic, interactive experiences that we can create and have created with online, and we match them together. I think that becomes the exciting point of what the future holds for us as we start looking at TV advertising. Danke. Du bist dran.
Almost forgot the most important stuff.
You.
Dean, we're just wondering, where's the line between targeting and stalking?
Yeah, it's a very crazy one. I think that the value in there is loyalty. I think we've moved crazily over the last 10, 15 years with social media and home shredders. So we're all scared of ID theft. And yet we bought home shredders to shred all our information, and yet we give far more information away on social media. And what's happening is the technology companies are then using it to knock on my door and say, hey, I saw you threw this product away. Do you want to buy some more? And I feel violated. I think we've moved from ID theft into ID rape. I think it has that connotation with what's happening. But I think it's nothing wrong with the technology, it's how it's being used. So my point of saying is if you can work with loyalty, if you can say, what are you interested in? Mm-hmm. And you'll say, okay, well, let's step back. Do you want to pay for your TV or your online content? No. Okay. Do you want ads? No. Okay, we'll pay for your content. Oh, okay, then I'll have the content free if I have ads. Okay. What if I could choose what kind of ads I wanted to see? Would you be interested? Mm-hmm. And so by working with the consumer, with loyalty programs, I think this is how we get around privacy issues. Because rather than forcing something upon them, it's choices. Do you want to pay? Yes or no. Do you want to have advertising? Yes or no. And if you do, would you like to choose the advertising where and when? Especially if I'm going to get special offers and rewards. And I think this is how, which doesn't really work in the technology industry yet, but I think as we start to move this loyalty programs and technology together, we answer a whole load of issues that you've kind of wiped up there.
I think we're going to discuss these issues in the next years. Still, Dean Donaldson, danke and gute Besserung. You know that? Okay. Thank you so much for coming out.
Wonderful, thank you.
Even with this little handicap. May I help you?
I'm good, thank you.
Go down here carefully.